What's up, Planeswalkers? It's your boy K-Dog, coming to you from the early access event. So thank you to Wizards of the Coast for sponsoring myself and all the content creators, letting us play with the new cards a day in advance. So here, wrapping up, I think, with the Flyers list. Azorious Flyers. It's kind of a fun little deck. It's kind of one of those kind of always been on the fringes of like kind of lower levels of competitive play, not something you can really rank up too high with, but something that typically holds its own, and each of the last couple sets have kind of given it some new tools to make it just a little bit better, kind of inching closer. Core set 21 gave us some not only a new flyer, especially at the 2-drop slot where it really needed a good 2-drop flyer, but also gave us some interesting interactive spells, counter spells. So we have things like Lofty Denial, which is specifically meant for the flyer deck. It's a 2-mana instant speed counter target spell unless the controller pays 1, which is okay, right? However, if you control a creature with flying, counter that spell unless the controller pays 4 instead. So 2-mana counter spell is pretty sweet. You have to have flyer out, but even if your opponent like taps out for something, then you can still counter it. So it's pretty decent. At least has a little bit of a reasonable floor. And Unsubstantiate is the other new card. So I was running Unsummon as my interactive spell before. Unsubstantiate costs 2, whereas Unsummon, of course, 1. It's a little more versatile. Whereas Unsubstantiate is versatile in a different way. You can still return your own creatures to your hand. However, you can return a spell to a player's hand as well. So if you got a bunch of flyers out and you're just like one turn away from winning, your opponent, basically their Hail Mary is a Shadow of the Sky to kind of wipe your board. You can just put it back into their hand, say, no, I'm going to kill you next turn. So Unsubstantiate seems like a pretty interesting card. And so we're running all 4 copies here, just for the versatility to return, removal spells, sweepers to our opponent's hand, or creatures as well, and potentially even protecting our own creatures. In addition to the Lofty Denial. So we have 8 ways to kind of say no to our opponent while still being aggressive. I mean, these are 2-mana spells that are pretty reasonable. Flyers, you want to play them out, hit your opponent fast and hard and just kind of close out the game. You don't want a long, drawn-out matchup. But we do have some tools there with things like Omen of the Sea, then kind of always dig for answers in certain matchups. And just being able to play this at instant speed to scry and draw, I think it makes us just as good as like a Winged Words, which is a 3-mana, of course, draw 2, but it only costs 2 if you have a flyer out. It's a sorcery speed, but this one also has the upside of you can pay 3 to sack it and scry 2 as well. So all things considered, I think Omen of the Sea just a little bit better in a lot of cases than Winged Words, even though Winged Words looks like it's the better card, at least in a Flyers list. What else we got that's new? The 2-drop flyer, of course, I was referring to as Watcher of the Spheres. So this is kind of there's a similar card that does this effect, where creature spells with flying cost 1 less to cast. It's like a 3-mana 2/2, 2 and blue, I believe, is what it is. So it's decent. Also, most of our flyers are either like this one, where we have the Skycat Sovereign, which we're about to get to here in a second, which is blue and white. So this doesn't really affect that. So that's 2 of our creatures, so 8 total creatures that don't get any boost by this. Plus we have 1-drop creatures as 8 of as well that don't get a boost. However, we have Brazen Borrower and Empyrean Eagle, which I think could make a big difference, especially when you're trying to hold up like a counter spell. So that way you can still play your Brazen Borrower or Eagle when you have 4 lands, and that way you only have to pay 2 to cast those, and you can still leave 2 mana open to counter something. So I definitely think there's a lot of upside as far as that goes. I'm not sure how fruitful it actually is, but just the fact that it only costs 2 mana, I definitely think it worth taking a look at. And this other ability here, whenever another creature with flying enters battle under control, Watcher of the Spheres gets +1/+1 until end of turn. So we're just trying to take advantage of decks that don't have flyers on their side, and of course we have the Unsubstantiate to bounce creatures if our opponent does. And we have things like Empyrean Eagle, which also give us a Lord effect for all of our flyers as well. 2/3, of course, 3 mana. Other creatures control with flying get +1/+1. So it doesn't give itself a boost, unless you, of course, you have multiples of these out. Brazen Borrower is another little bit of interaction with the Petty Theft, being able to return any non-land permanent on opponent's side to their hand, and playing it down as a flash 3/1 flyer. Of course, they're going to only block flyers, which is a little bit of downside, but since we're essentially a flyer aggro list, we don't really care too much about that. Skycat Sovereign, of course, is the other 2-mana flyer that came out in Ikoria, so it made the flyers deck just that much better. And of course, it's a 1/1 for 2, which doesn't look great. However, it gets +1/+1 for each other creature you control with flying, and you can pay 4 mana to make a 1/1 creatures with flying. So that's pretty sweet. We also have Rally of Wings, just kind of a solid inclusion in a flyers list, of course, because you can instant speed, 2 mana, untap all creatures you control with flying, get +2/+2 until end of turn. So this is basically just a way to close out games, or it can, of course, help you trade by attacking in, and maybe your opponent has a couple of decent blocks, so they don't think it's too suspicious. They go for those. You just Rally of Wings, make your creatures bigger. They kill your opponent's creatures. Your creatures stay alive, and they're untapped as well. So it's kind of like Vigilance, essentially. But a lot of the time, Rally of Wings is just a way for you to kind of deal those extra points of damage to win the game. And of course, your staples here: 4 Spectral Sailors and 4 Healer's Hawk. I'm assuming you know what those do by now. 22 lands here, 8 planes. 6 Island, 4 Hallowed Fountain, 4 Fabled Passage. Did I do that right? Yeah, I got that backwards. There we go. 6 planes, 8 islands. So I got that backwards. Glad we fixed that before we jumped into some matches. Alright, so there you go, guys. Rough draft in action. Okay, up against Magic Noobs. Okay, no 1-drop. We have a Brazen Borrower, so I'm definitely going to lead on Fabled Passage into a island. We have the card draw. We have some powerful 3-drops, so it's definitely not ideal, but I think we keep it. No, we got Hallowed Fountain, so I think we just drop that instead, tapped, and then we can just Fabled Passage on 4. And we still have our double blue for the Brazen Borrower, but it looks like we're up against a control deck, so yay. I mean, if they go for a Teferi here, we can just Lofty Denial. I think Narset is a reasonable option as well. I mean, Watcher of the Spheres is okay. It's not very mana efficient, so I think we just drop the Eagle, hope for the best. Our opponent probably just Teferis, bounces it, draws cards, Shadow of the Skies, and yeah, but we'll see. Pretty slow start, no 1-drops. Just now got a 2-drop. So not the best keep, but we've got some tools. We can potentially get there. So they're missing double white for Shatter, but they're running Glass Casket. Okay. Let's go and crack it first. So what do we need? I'll just grab blue. We have 2 white sources. We're pretty blue heavy. We'll just drop the Watcher of the Spheres and hold up some interaction here. We can bounce the Glass Casket on their end step maybe, just to get our Eagle back for a turn. They do have mana. Actually, no, we have a flyer now, so this is just a counterspell. So yeah, we'll take it. We'll just hold up the flash speed. If they have another Planeswalker, probably just Omen in response. Maybe we find another counter. Fae of Wishes. I guess we might want to counter that. We'll see what we draw. I don't want 2 lands. We already have 4. Okay, Fae of Wishes, granted it is. Some kind of an Azorious control build. You fire that off right away, but you don't know what you're looking for. Okay. I mean, you have to have some idea of what card you want here. You want a sweeper? You want something, another Planeswalker maybe? Mass Manipulation. That's pretty good. Well, we'll just fire you off. Jeez, that's 4 lands we've squared away. Yeah, we'll take the Lofty Denial. Okay, we get the +1 boost, hit him for 3. So we're okay. If we can just survive a little bit longer, I think we're okay. If they want to mass manipulate, we're happy to play our third Lofty Denial. No, we're just gonna... It's not really a great Brazen Borrower target, but maybe it's worth it. I mean, they didn't go mass manipulation, so they probably have a counterspell. So I think we just fire this off. Let's see. I mean, if they want to counter it, that's fine. Nope. So we got our Eagle down. We can bounce it and swing for a ton here. Oh boy. We kind of have to leave open Lofty Denial for the mass manipulation, don't we? Okay, they lose their Fae, or maybe they have some discard. Either way, they look like they're taking 8. Okay, they decide they don't want. Mass manipulation, or they have another one. Down to 7, so I think we just hold up the counterspell. So they pay 4, which they have 4 to do right now. But we could force them to tap out at least. Okay, they don't want to tap out. There you go. Yep, cool. You're playing Shadow the Sky, dude. That's amazing. Surprised it took him that long to find it. Maybe we should have just let the Teferi resolve, but then of course we can't counter anything once the Teferi resolves, so you're kind of in no man's land at that point. So they have a glass casket that they can use, but we have these Rally of Wings. I don't know how we can leverage them. Oh, with this particular board state, I mean, we could attack now and use Rally just to kill the Fae, but it seems pretty medium. There you go for the Scry. Definitely not in a good spot here. We've used up, you know, three of our spells. Sure. I got a Teferi back. Yeah, I feel like we're pretty much out of it at this point. So we'll just flash it in as a 3/1. Swing 4. They take it. So our Rally of Wings will take up all of our mana. Our Petty Theft takes up all of our mana. Okay. And it felt like we had a window there, but of course it's all an illusion. We can Petty Theft the Elspeth Conqueror's Death so they don't get a Planeswalker back and they have 0 targets to cast it on. But then we tap out. It's not ideal, but I think we just have to do what we have to do. Okay, they play it just to get it down. Just pass the turn. They can scry, they can make tokens. We don't care about tokens because we're flying. They know about the Brazen Borrower, so we'll play the Brazen Borrower. Play the Spectral Sailor. We'll swing. If this rally of wings resolves, then we win the game. But I doubt it. Whew. Filthy control player. Alright, rally of wings. That's what it's there for. Alright, we're going to Yili Mitado. On the draw, can we keep this? Turn to Healer's Hawk. Maybe some other stuff. I mean, it's not terrible, but it's not great either. But we'll, I hope we find an untapped land here. It's certainly possible. And Grazer, that kind of sucks. So some kind of a teamer ramp. It's an untapped land, just not the one we're looking for. Shocking and Uro, yep. That's super cool. They're playing Arboreal Grazer and Uro. This is like a teamer, expansion, explosion, wilderness reclamation, Teferi, new Teferi. 4 colors, so you're super greedy. Got it. Crack this, grab a white source so we can drop our Healer's Hawk. Let's play our 1-drop on turn 2. Seems pretty good. And our opponent's over there with 5 lands, all the colors. Okay, so super greedy. Second Grazer. We can gain some life. I don't think it amounts to much. But we'll gain the life. And probably just flash in the Brazen Borrower as a 3/1 creature next turn. Yeah, you have an easy block. I'm just gaining some life here. And our opponent is overthinking. Sure. I mean, I guess that makes sense, sure. So graveyard is empty. Golos in standard. Okay, so no Field of the Dead, thank goodness. But they have all the colors. They get to untap with Golos next turn. Even if we bounce it, they still get to do stupid stuff. They just get more lands. This is turn 3 and they have 7 lands. Seems pretty good. Block, block, take no damage. We have a counterspell, I guess, but they have 1,000,000 mana, so it probably doesn't matter. They get a Grazer in their graveyard to do the thing. Double Grazer and a Golos. That's pretty medium. And they could play the Golos just to draw, I guess. We can counter it. That's something. They don't even leave their Grazer back to block. Okay, Golos number 2 comes down. Because why not? You grab another land, you gotta put the Golos in your graveyard for Uro. And all agreed. And we kept a pretty bad hand, so we're getting punished big time for it. Watching our opponent just ramp a misclick there. Nice. Nice. misclick, misclick, misclick. Alright. I think we just Omen here, maybe find another land. Probably hate to see a land here. Wow. Does that even matter? Does that even do anything for me? Probably just need all the flyers we can get and hope. Just hope we get there before our opponent starts really doing crazy stuff. I mean, if their only defense against us is Arboreal Grazer, then maybe. Okay, there we go. Ugin, thank you. Please, please end this now. Yep. Cool. Yep. That's Ugin. Yeah, if this were a regular magic, I would just concede. As soon as Ugin landed that, I would have just conceded. But early access, well, let them do their thing. We will let them play. Yeah, getting punished big time for keeping that hand, not having any aggression whatsoever in the early turns. We do need some lands, man. We do need some lands. I mean, Lofty Denial looks pretty terrible against them. I mean, +2 to deal 3 damage, that's just insane. Oh, we can't even do anything against this deck. I mean, if we were able to like curve out with like all the creatures earlier, then yeah, but so yeah, Ugin is a thing. So they're hitting for 3 with Golos next turn, plus they can deal 3 with Ugin, so we're not dead yet. So we're gonna have to stick this out another turn to let them destroy us. Give him a target to deal 3 damage to you. I don't think that changes the math though. Yeah, I mean, we're just locked out of this game completely. Ramp in standard is insane. Just insane. By the time they cast Cultivate, like, they didn't even need lands. That's the crazy thing.
To the library.
Seems like Ugin was a mistake with just how powerful Ramp is right now. But we'll see how much impact it actually makes. Would not be surprised if it's shows up in tier 1 decks. Was that their 3rd ultimatum? Yeah, that's pretty insane. Can't even see all the lands now. Yep, you're doing your thing, dude. Just nice when you're this far behind and when your opponent can just kind of finish it instead of just dirtling. Like, you've already done cool stuff, dude. You don't need to go off. We're doing nothing here. It doesn't even matter what we draw into or what we play. But we'll play it out. We'll play it out. We have Brazen Borrower. We have Lofty Denial. Need to hold up the counter spells for Ugin. Are they gonna lose their Ugin now? Was that at 10? I think it was at 11, wasn't it? I don't know. Doesn't matter. Ugin, that's a stupid card. So they got another Ugin, they got another Golos, they got 2 Uros. They're gonna draw a million cards, put a million lands into play. Yep, resolve. You get all the triggers, dude. What a bloodbath. Yep, feel free to finish the game, opponent.
All creation can be undone.
Just to mess with them a little bit.
The past is never forgotten.
Now we're tapped out, so we don't have to click on anything. They can just do all their things. Jeez, that's all 4 Ugins. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to playing against Ugin. That card is stupid. Wow. The amount of ramp that this person pulled off without any effort is just stupid. That's just stupid. Wow. Okay, Ugin is the real deal. If anybody was wondering, Ugin is just going to be pretty devastating. Alright, I think I'm going to wrap it up right there. Yeah, pretty fun showing, pretty fun event. So thank you again to Wizards of the Coast for sponsoring me. Thank to all of you guys for watching these decks. These are just rough drafts. No one's played with the new cards until today. I had to work today, so I didn't get off. I didn't get a chance to play until later, so I didn't really get a chance to if I wanted to kind of play test a little bit before I actually started recording. I just kind of built some decks and then jumped into some matches. Typically, I like to brew and then play test pretty much always before I showcase decks to you guys. So this is kind of an interesting opportunity for you guys to see rough drafts and just kind of get a little bit of feel for what the new cards are like and what the new meta, what kind of cards, how the new cards might shape the upcoming meta here. So yeah, thanks again for watching, guys, and until the next time, make sure you jank with a purpose.